The legend of Kankalga, a place where trains don't stop, and neither do the dead. In the deserts of Rajasthan, where the wind carries sand like whispers and the nights feel older than memory itself, there exists a railway station that does not appear on most maps anymore. Its name is Kankalga. No train has stopped there for 92 years, not because the tracks are broken, not because the station was officially shut down, but because no driver, no guard, no railway officer, Indian or British, has ever dared to stop a train there again. The station still stands. The tracks still run through it. And yet, every train that approaches Kankalga accelerates, as if the engine itself is afraid. February 27, 1931. The fire that shouldn't be remembered. The British record books are silent about what happened next. But oral histories passed down in villages near Kankalga tell a different story. After the martyrdom of Chandrasekhar Azad, the country burned not just with riots, but with rage. Revolutionaries were moving from state to state, disguising themselves as laborers, pilgrims, families. One such group of over 1,300 people was traveling together by train: men, women, teenagers, children, some armed, some not, all united by one idea: freedom. The British intelligence knew, and they decided to make an example. That night, as the train passed through the emptiest stretch of Rajasthan, British soldiers boarded it silently. They locked the compartments from outside, poured kerosene through the windows, and lit the train on fire. People screamed, mothers threw their children through broken windows, only for them to land on burning tracks. Some jumped, only to be shot. Some burned alive without ever seeing the flame. The train, engulfed in fire, ran blindly for miles, until it slowed down and finally stopped at a small, unnamed station, Kankalga. By morning, the sand around the station was black. Bones lay scattered on the tracks, and something else remained. Why the 13th matters. No one knows who decided it first, but every family living near Kankalga follows one rule without question. On the 13th of every month, no door opens after sunset. Not for relatives, not for children, not for the dying. Knock all you want, scream, cry, beg. No one will answer, because the people of Kankalga believe that on the 13th the train comes back. Not on tracks, but through memory. Enter Ashok. Ashok Verma was not a foolish man. 34 years old, a railway history researcher, skeptical, rational, the kind of man who smiled when people talked about ghosts. He had heard of Kankalga through a retired locomotive engineer who whispered the name like a curse. No train stops there, the old man had said, and if one ever does, it will never leave. Ashok laughed. That laugh would not last long. The first warning. When Ashok reached the nearest village, the reaction was immediate. Shops closed. Children were pulled indoors. An old woman spat on the ground when she heard the name Kankalga. You want to go there? She asked. Today's the 12th. If you go, don't come back tomorrow. Ashok assumed superstition. He checked into a small dharamshala and slept. At 2:47 a.m. he woke up to the sound of a train whistle, but there were no tracks nearby. The station at dusk, Kankalga station, looked wrong. The boards were rusted, but readable. The benches were intact, but cracked. The clock still hung on the wall. It was stuck at 3:11. Ashok stepped onto the platform just as the sun dipped below the dunes. That's when he noticed something horrifying. There were footprints in the sand, hundreds of them, bare feet, burned feet, children's feet, all facing away from the tracks. The rule of silence. At exactly 7 p.m., the wind stopped. No insect, no birds, no sound at all. Ashok tried recording audio. The device malfunctioned. That's when he heard it. A cough. Behind him, the waiting passengers. The benches were no longer empty. People sat there now, charred, blackened, some missing limbs, some holding children that had no faces. No one spoke. Their eyes followed Ashok as he moved. Then a man in a burned freedom fighter uniform stood up. The train is late, he said calmly. It always is. The arrival at 3:11 a.m., the ground began to vibrate. Ashok smelled smoke, not imagined smoke, real smoke. A train emerged not from the distance but from the darkness itself. Its compartments were still burning. Inside, people screamed endlessly. The doors opened and everyone on the platform turned toward Ashok. You're new, the burned man said. You'll have to board the truth of Kankalga. Ashok realized the horror too late. Kankalga was not a station. It was a graveyard with a schedule. Every month, on the 13th, the souls relived their final journey, and anyone present became a replacement. Someone had to take their place. Mourning without Ashok. On the morning of the 14th, villagers found Ashok's bag near the station. Inside it was his recorder. The last audio file contained only one sound, a train whistle, and Ashok's voice, screaming, "Please don't stop, please don't stop." Why no train stops there? British records list Kankalga as operational but bypassed. Indian Railways never changed it, because every time a train slowed down near Kankalga, passengers reported seeing a burning train running beside them, matching their speed, waiting